So we're back in the van and we've left our home in the Highlands,
Yeah.
heading for the place that we actually think of as
Yes.
home. Which is kind of strange because I was born in the Highlands and we've lived there most of
Yeah.
our lives. But this place is a place we were teenagers in.
Yeah.
We finished school there, our first jobs were there, and we became young adults here, didn't we?
Yes.
I've always loved crossing this bridge because
Yeah.
it feels to me it's like the end of the Great Glen when you're on the west coast.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose technically you are really. We turn left off this roundabout, and this feels like where all the good stuff starts to happen,
Yeah.
doesn't it? The true west coast. This is a lay-by we always used to stop in with the kids, wasn't it?
Yeah,
For a wee
yeah.
picnic when we were heading down this road. Beautiful. So I think one of the great things about the place we're going is the humour, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because, and I think it might be consistent with all sort of remote places in that you just don't bring anybody else down.
No.
So it's okay to talk about your own ailments and problems
Yeah.
or your situation, but you'd better be able to back it up pretty quickly with a bit of humour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, laugh at yourself or the
Yeah.
situation, because if you didn't, somebody else would pretty quickly,
Yeah.
wouldn't they? We're passing through Oban, but that's not where we're going.
No.
Although Oban is the nearest big town to where we're going, but
Yeah.
it's still 2 hours, two and a half hours maybe.
Two and a
further
half
away.
hours, yeah.
You remember in the late 70s we used to just come up here for a
Just for a
drive,
wee run.
you know? Yeah, 2.5 hours was nothing. And the car was so important. I had a little Mini 850, didn't I?
Yeah.
An old one, it was old then. And we used to come up here to go to Halfords.
That's right, aye.
Because you're forever buying bits to try and keep the
Yeah.
thing running, you know. So this is probably the worst bit of the road, isn't it? Which
Yes.
is the A816 from Oban to Lochgilphead. But I think the main thing to remember is that when you see these chevrons saying it's a sharp turn, they
Mean it.
They mean it here. They're not joking.
And you could meet a bus.
And this is the other bit of the road that's a bit dodgy. It's a bit of switchback. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, still lorries and buses up and down here, and I've towed a caravan up it, so, and down it.
Yeah.
So we've just passed through Lochgilphead and we're heading down the Kintyre Peninsula to Campbelltown, ultimate destination.
Yeah.
A total gem of a place.
Definitely.
And it's this stretch of road all the way from Lochgilphead to Campbelltown I feel is
You
the
love
most
it.
scenic in anywhere. Can you see what I mean? Could this not just be California? Beautiful, isn't it? And the water is gin clear. This is a place to come, Kintyre. As you drive down Kintyre, the little towns and villages get smaller and smaller, don't
Yeah.
they? Till there's nothing but a few houses with a name.
Yeah.
And you come over the hill here, and there's this town, 6,000-7,000 people. You think, why is this here? Doesn't make
No,
sense,
I
you
know.
know. And one of the reasons is they've got a natural harbour, Campbelltown Loch,
Yeah.
which was very important in the days when sea transport was much more viable than road transport
Mhm.
was, of course, you know. They also had 30 plus distilleries at one point.
Yeah.
And you wonder why here? Why put all these distilleries here? Well, aside from the safe natural harbour, you know, it had good fresh water from the lochs
Yeah.
up in the hills above Campbelltown. But what Campbelltown had that others didn't generally was coal.
Yeah.
And they've been mining coal here for about 500 years. The last mine shut 1967, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I still worked with a lot of the men who had worked in these mines, or this one mine in particular. And it was a huge benefit to the town. A lot of the housing was built for the coal miners.
Yeah.
I believe they employed about 300 to 400 men at one point, something about
Yeah.
that, which is big for an area like this, you know. So yeah, we thought we'd better just spring into action with this vlogging business, didn't we?
Yeah. So we had a beer.
So we had a beer, because we're in Campbelltown.
Yeah.
Well, Macrahanish technically. Everyone slows down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Take it easy, take it easy. So yeah, Macrahanish Holiday Park it's called, yeah. So 5 miles from Campbelltown, but the bus stops right at the gate of the campsite, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can either be on the flat there, where we are, on hard standing.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's supposed to be 10 amps electricity down there
Yes.
as well. Or you can go up here, which is the ones with the views, you know, but it is on grass rather than hard standing. Yeah. Pretty nice all the same. It's fascinating for us. There's a wee river there and I can just almost see my 12-year-old self, me and my brother, clambering along these banks with a fishing rod with a bit of lead and a worm on a hook, trying to catch a salmon.
Did you not canoe down there as well in the Scouts?
We've canoed down that as well with the Scouts, yeah, many years ago. So we just go to the gates and wait for the bus. But I think it's fascinating that under this campsite are all the galleries from the coal mine, which is right under here, you know. I think they'll be flooded because apparently it was quite a wet mine and they had to have pumps running all the time. But the only building, the only things left remaining is the old substation, which in later years, where all the switchgear was, you know, but in later years it was also the Lagan Bar, which is when we lived here, a real sort of spit and sawdust Formica top table place. But man, the locals loved it. It was always busy. So I'm walking up the side of the mighty Campbelltown Loch, and you can see why it was so important when sea transport was much more important than road, because it has Devar Island over there blocking the entrance to the loch. You know, and on the right hand side of Devar Island is a sand spit, the Dorland they call it, and the only real entrance is on the left hand side there. It's very, very protected. One of the many things I love about this place is something you'll see all over these little west coast towns and villages, and that's tolerance. Now, Scotland's a tolerant place anyway, but I think particularly in these places, they don't see somebody who's different from them and feel fear or defensiveness. I think what they feel is curiosity. You know, where do you live? Human curiosity. Where do you live? Is it safe? What do you eat? Have you got enough to eat? And things like that, you know. And I think they've got their headbangers like everybody else, don't get me wrong. But I think as a whole, they don't see, you know, race, religion, colour, sexual orientation as anything other than peripherals, like the clothes you wear. What they're really interested in is what's in here in the heart, what's up here. If you're good there, they'll be good with you. God, I love this place. It's like every street has a memory. Every crack in the pavement almost has a memory. And I always say that anywhere that's got palm trees growing in the streets has got to be good, hasn't it? So Rhoda's still got family here, so she's away visiting, but I'm off to find a high point where you can get a real view over this loch here. And maybe try and explain why we started making videos, basically. So I really wanted to go up to a high point that overlooks Campbelltown and the loch, but unfortunately the high point's in a cemetery and there's a funeral going on, so best not there. So this is why we're making videos. So I think that my mum and dad's generation were probably the first people who could buy a real cheap consumer grade camera, like one made of modern thermoplastics rather than Bakelite. And in fact, this is my mum and dad's camera from 1965, a Brownie 127. And you can see the result, because for the first time in history, people could have a big box of photographs, which is them, their lives, leisure at play, whatever they were doing, not, you know, studio portraits or at weddings and so on. Now we continued when we were growing up. We started to take photographs as well, and the box of photographs we have is our lives. You know, we've got from before we had children, when we were young, first child, second child, third child, the bad camping trips we took them on, usually in a car hugely overloaded with a big frame tent that I'd bought in a catalogue at the time, you know, paid up on a monthly basis. But our photographs ended in 2003, no more. And it's because we bought a digital camera. So it occurred to us that the way for us to continue to contribute to our picture box was video, because it's easy to watch. And that's the short answer is we're making videos for 20 or 30 years in the future. That's what we set out to do. And that's the reason I'm putting them on YouTube as well. I mean, we could just store them somewhere, but who's going to watch them? You know, I'm talking about our own family, our own grandchildren and so on further down the line. But the fact that people are watching and subscribing and commenting, it gives us a bit more drive, you know, to just try and do them a bit better. I'm not suggesting we're very good at it. So anyway, that's the reason. Now, I think we'll stop this video here, I think, because this one should be the travel down, a little bit about Macranish, because I want to do something over the next 2 or 3 days to really do this place justice. It really is a magical place. But I'll say hi to Cleo and Charlie and Joey again, and I hope everybody has a good week. We really do. We're so grateful that people are actually even watching these, you know. As I say, it gives us some purpose. And I hope I'm not droning on a wee bit here. We'll see you next week. Bye.